we have had a detailed discussion about sex determination in human beings. We did consider a little bit about insects like Drosophila in that lesson. Now we are going to consider the sex determination in birds. Okay. So our topic in this lesson is going to be how do we determine the sex of a bird on the basis of chromosomes. Okay, the chromosomal inheritance we are dealing with. So, what kind of chromosomes when inherited would give rise to a male bird and what kind of chromosomes would give rise to a female bird? First thing you have to remember that in case of birds, example you can take a peacock, annihilation fowls and most of the birds I would say, okay, many fowls. You have peacock, peahen. The first point that you have to remember is that over here, unlike human beings, the female is going to be heterogametic. So, first thing is that female is heterogametic. How it is contrary to human beings? In human beings, the female is XX, right? The female happens to be homogametic. She is homogametic. Over here, the female will be heterogametic. So, supposedly we represent the female's allosome composition to be Z and W. Okay, this would be the female and male would be homogametic over here. In case of human beings, what is male's composition? It is XY. Certainly it is heterogametic, but in this case the male would be homogametic. So, which parent is going to decide the sex of the offspring? It would be the female that would be deciding the sex of the offspring. It will not be the male who would decide the sex of offspring as was in the case of human beings. In the case of human beings, it is the male who decides whether the child will be male or female, but in this case it is the female being heterogametic. She is going to decide whether there would be a peacock or a peahen. How it is decided, you can make it out. We are representing it in a cross and then we are done with this topic. The next topic would be about honeybees, which will not be similar. But first let's cover up this. Supposedly we take a female with this allosomic composition. This is the female. We are considering the parents. This is the male. Okay. As the chromosomes would segregate, the gametes that we have will be having this composition. The male forms 100% similar gametes, female has 50% Z, 50% W. When the crosses are made, what would be the probabilities? You can very well make it out. So, these offsprings are females and these are the male ones. Now, you see over here it is the gamete of female which is deciding what the offspring type would be, and this is what we have in the case of birds. In certain insects it is not similar. We didn't discuss it in detail earlier, so we are just taking an overview. What would be the case of insects? Before we come to the interesting topic of honeybees, we will see what happens in other insects. The sex determination mechanism of Drosophila is totally different. It is, we have super males and super females over there and sterile intermediates as well. In the case of insects, the scenario is such that the male is XO while the female is XX. This you have to remember. Okay? The female is having 2x chromosomes, but the male is having only one X chromosome. So more is the number of X, the more the character of female would be showing up. Because there is not one X, this O refers, that means this is empty, there is no chromosome. Supposedly we are talking about an insect that is having 14 autosomes and the male will have 1. That means we have 15 chromosomes with the male and the female will have certainly 16. So in any case you have the female having 1 chromosome more than the male, and that one would be X. I hope I am clear. What I am trying to say is that if the parent or if the insect is male, it has 1 chromosome lesser than that of the female, and what that one is, that is an X. So the male parent is considered as XO and the female is considered as XX. Such is the sex determination mechanism in certain cases of insects. So you have to remember what is there in the case of birds and you have to remember what is there in the case of insects. The number of the male chromosomes would always be 1 less than that found in the female. And who would determine the sex of the offspring? Certainly here also it is the female that is deciding, because in any case this individual is homogametic but the number of gametes formed are being less.